Hold up, if you thought this was just another SEC matchup, think again. What went down in Baton Rouge was a statement. South Carolina didn't just beat LSU, they walked into one of the toughest environments in women's college basketball and imposed their will. And when it was over, Dawn Staley had something to say about it. Before we break this all the way down, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because if you're rocking with South Carolina, if you're riding with Dawn Staley, or if you've got something to say about LSU, this is the place to do it. Let's get into it. From the opening tip, you could feel the tension. The crowd was loud. The energy was hostile. LSU was ready to defend home court. But South Carolina? They were composed. Focused. Locked in. And when the final buzzer sounded, it wasn't just a win, it was a reminder of who runs the SEC right now. Dawn Staley didn't come into that postgame smiling like it was a surprise. She came in looking like a coach whose team executed the plan. Her message was clear: this is the standard. Defense travels. Discipline travels. Toughness travels. South Carolina absorbed every LSU run and responded with poise. Every time the arena tried to swing momentum, the Gamecocks answered with stops, rebounds, and smart possessions. That's not luck. That's preparation. That's culture. And Staley made sure to highlight that this wasn't about hype or revenge, it was about growth. It was about showing that her team can handle pressure, silence noise, and win in chaos. That's championship DNA forming in real time. She praised the defensive intensity. She emphasized the unselfish play. And she pointed out that the team is still evolving, still sharpening the edges. That's the scary part. Because if this is South Carolina still growing, what happens when they peak? So I've got to ask you, is South Carolina the team to beat in the SEC right now? Did this win prove they're on another level? Or does LSU bounce back next time? Drop your take in the comments. Let's talk about it. When the final buzzer sounded in Baton Rouge, the message was loud, clear, and impossible to ignore: South Carolina isn't backing down from anybody. And at the center of it all stood Dawn Staley, calm but fiery, delivering a post-game tone that felt less like celebration, and more like a warning to the rest of the country. This wasn't just another SEC win. This was South Carolina walking into LSU's house, facing the noise, the hype, the hostility, and walking out with control. From the opening tip, the Gamecocks dictated pace. Defensively, they suffocated LSU's rhythm. Every passing lane felt contested. Every shot felt rushed. Every possession looked uncomfortable. That's by design. That's culture. That's preparation. And after the game, Staley didn't sugarcoat what it meant. She talked about toughness. About poise. About maturity in big moments. But more than anything, she talked about standard. For Staley, this wasn't revenge. It wasn't about headlines. It wasn't about proving doubters wrong. It was about playing South Carolina basketball the way it's supposed to be played: disciplined, physical, connected. LSU tried to make it emotional. The crowd was electric. The pressure was real. But the Gamecocks never. Staley emphasized how proud she was of her team's composure. She pointed to defensive rotations, second chance points, and the willingness to make the extra pass. She highlighted leadership. She praised unselfishness. But she also made something very clear: this team still has another level. That's what should scare the rest of the SEC. When South Carolina defends the way they did against LSU, they don't just beat teams, they drain them. The effort compounds. The depth overwhelms. And by the fourth quarter, opponents look exhausted mentally as much as physically. Staley's demeanor post-game was confident but calculated. She acknowledged LSU's talent. She respected the environment. But she made it known that her team prepared for exactly this type of challenge. Preparation beats emotion. Execution beats noise. Culture beats hype. There were moments in the game where LSU made runs, and every time, South Carolina answered. That's championship DNA. No panic. No hero ball. Just possession by possession dominance. Staley also addressed how important it was to win in a hostile arena. She talked about road toughness and how tournament basketball isn't played in comfort zones. It's played in chaos. And this team, in her words, is learning how to thrive in that chaos. That's growth. And if you watched closely, you could see it: communication on switches, trust on help defense, players celebrating hustle plays just as loudly as big shots. That's a coach's fingerprint. This win sends a message beyond LSU. It echoes across the SEC. Across the top 25. Across the national title picture. South Carolina isn't rebuilding. They aren't reloading. They're reinforced. Staley has built a program where expectations don't drop, they rise. And in the postgame atmosphere, she made one more thing clear: this team doesn't listen to outside narratives. They don't chase rankings. They don't respond to social media noise. They respond to each other. That unity showed in Baton Rouge. Now the question shifts from can South Carolina compete, to who can stop them when they lock in defensively? Because when they lock in, the game changes. Staley's closing remarks weren't loud. They weren't theatrical. They were sharp and direct. Win the moment. Stay disciplined. Keep getting better. It's February, and they're already playing like March. If this performance is any indication, the Gamecocks aren't just aiming for conference supremacy. They're aiming for something bigger. And after this win over LSU, the message from Dawn Staley is unmistakable. South Carolina is coming, and they're not apologizing for it. And just like that, another statement made, another hostile arena silenced, and another reminder that when Dawn Staley has her team locked in, South Carolina is a problem for anybody in the country. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a post-game reaction, analysis, or breaking update. We're covering every big moment, every big matchup, and every statement win all season long. Now I want to hear from you. What was the biggest takeaway from this win over LSU? Was it the defense? The composure? The coaching adjustments? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay locked in, stay passionate, and we'll catch you on the next one.